Why they say that?
It's during the reason why it is because Resurrection Sunday is technically Jesus died, and then the day after is the Sabbath of Passover. So whenever Passover is, the Saturday of it, the Friday before the Saturday of Passover is technically the day that you're supposed to observe when Jesus died, and then the day after that, because he presumably died in the morning, 3 full days passed, and then Resurrection Sunday. Yeah.
Sure. What he said. Also, there are different calendars. You have the Jewish calendar, which is actually a lunar-based calendar. Then you have the Gregorian calendar, which is what we're on. So their calendar is actually a little shorter than ours is. And so like it's a lot of different calendars. And then moves also because different cycles, blah, 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 blah. It moves. I think it should move, but it moves like this. Passover, Jewish feast of Passover. That's when it happened. That's when it went down. I don't really want to go too deep right now. Normally I would chase that, but I know what I need to talk about today. So yes, ask me that next week, 2 weeks from now. I got it. Have all the facts and whatever. I got you. Yes, ma'am. I'm here to hear. Yes.
Oh, what is the Jewish calendar?
The Hebrew calendar is not Hebrew calendar. What's the name? I don't think it's a question name for it.
Is there such thing as Easter Monday?
Yes.
Easter Monday.
Easter Monday, because like on my calendar, on my phone,
Oh, okay.
it says Easter Sunday and then Easter.
Back in Mississippi, I would have been out of school yesterday and Monday. Friday and tomorrow. So, like, we will observe it on Monday, meaning you wouldn't go to school to go to work. Some places still do that out here. So I think Easter Monday. Yes.
Yeah, because in Jamaica they stop going to school from Friday through Friday, and they have the whole week off.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody know about the murder, the execution that took place? Yeah. Okay. So, we're going to talk about that, but I want to go here first. Luke chapter 9, title, I'ma Carry Mine. I'ma Carry Mine. All right. Luke chapter 9, let's go here. I was praying about this on this morning, and it was like, literally, 6 o'clock this morning, it was 8. Praying about this jumped out at me. So let's talk about it. Luke chapter 9, starting at verse 23. Back up to verse 21. Luke chapter 9, starting 21. You got the green Bible, page 832. 832. Y'all good? Let's rock. Jesus warned, verse 21, his disciples not to tell anyone who he was. The Son of Man must suffer many terrible things, he said. He will be rejected by the elders, the leading priests, and the teachers of the religious law. He will be killed, but on the third day he will be raised from the dead. Now, we know that in Matthew, because Matthew has accounted this story as well, so does Mark. Mark was the first gospel written. Matthew was from the perspective, they said, of Joseph. Luke, John, one of the two, was from the perspective of Mary. So, this is, in this particular text in Matthew chapter 16, you have when Peter himself said, nah, kinfolk, that's not going to happen. Pretty much, I won't let you die. Then, Jesus rebukes Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. This is the same context, a different lens of that same story. So, Jesus said, hey, I'm about to be dead, about to be rejected by the elders, the leading priests, and the teachers of the law. He refers to the third person, he's that life. He'll be killed, the third day he will rise again. Of importance to us, verse 23. Then he said to the crowd, if any of you want to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways. Take up your cross daily and follow me. Once again, if any of you want to be my follower, this word is disciple, a disciplined one who goes after Jesus, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross daily, and follow me. Verse 24, if you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. 25, just for the sake of reading. And what benefit do you, and what do you benefit if you gain the whole world, but yourself are yourself lost and destroyed? If anyone is ashamed of me and my message, the Son of Man will be ashamed of that person who returns to glory and in the glory of the Father and the holy angels. As follows there. Lately, we've been on the series God in a Box. It came from Romans chapter 1, verse 18 to 25. In this particular series, we talked about how people, we have limited the move of God, the power of God in not only our lives, but in the lives of other people, because our refusal to honestly acknowledge Jesus as Lord and acknowledge God as God. God, in context, is creator, sustainer. So on this particular day, I wanted to take a different angle. It's very easy to talk about what Jesus did. I agree. Totally agree. Thank you, big homie. Agree. You know, he died on the cross for our sins. He's not mad at you. He broke the curse. Yes, he became sin so you can be the blessed. He became death so you can have life. He became sick and disease so you can be whole. Yes, totally agree. All that's totally valid. But my question is, what are we doing with that freedom? What are we doing with that freedom? John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave. And so as Christ followers, Christians, what are we getting? This family. We're fornicating. This is family. What are we getting? Are we willing to join in with Christ? He said, if you want to be my followers, we must deny our separate ways, take up our cross, and follow him. Deny our separate ways, take up our cross, and follow him.
What does it mean by take up your cross? Because he wasn't dead yet, so he didn't know that. He wasn't dead yet, so he didn't know he needed. Well, I assume he knew he would be crucified, but what does it mean by take up your cross?
What does he mean take up the cross? Okay, let's jump straight to point number 2 then. Okay. Take up our cross. If you study the Greek, it means endure suffering or sacrifice. Because there's this concept in leadership as you all get older. Some of you all will have high positions of leadership. Some of you all will be doctors. Some will be lawyers. Some will be supervisors of different people. You may not be, some of us may be a valued member, part of a team, but we work alongside someone else, I'm trying to say. Some of you all will be the head person. You're calling the shots. So there's a different type of leaderships. One is leadership by, fear. I'm in control. You're going to do what I say or I'm going to chew you out. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to write you up. Don't do what I'm saying. Fear-based leadership. The type of leadership that's become more and more popular is servant leadership. So meaning that I have my position of authority. I sacrifice myself to serve those that's underneath me to lift everybody up. And so it's more of a humble approach. A lot of people trace that back to the leadership of Jesus himself. So when he say, take up our cross, he's saying, you follow my example. How did God show that he loved the world? He sacrificed. He sacrificed. So our example, if you say you love me, you're about to do what for me? Sacrifice. What does that mean? Okay, I got high schools and middle school here. If you love me, you're about to sacrifice your right to talk to every other girl, if you're guys, every other guy, if you're a girl, within reason. Now, I'm not saying in a controlling sense like if me and Tony were in high school, like college, that's what we meant. I'm not saying in a controlling sense like she can't talk to the guy that's in her classroom. I'm not even saying she can't have a casual conversation with any other male, but I am saying that she can't flirt with them. Really? Flirting with, really? I thought we were here. On the flip side of that, I wouldn't do the same thing to her either. Does that make sense? So we're sacrificing our rights. We're giving up our right, because I have free will, she have free will. But if we're going to be together, if I'm committing myself to her, I'm sacrificing my right to interact on a level that will string other people along and disrespect my commitment to her. Does that make sense? That's how God looks at love. If you say you love me, you're about to sacrifice. But too many times, we don't look at love as sacrificial. We look at love as, oh, it's a good feeling. We look at love as like, some of love is painful. Love hurts. We look at love in a lot of different ways when God looks at love as sacrificial. How do I know? Really quickly, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Go there. This is our definition of love. Anything that doesn't fit this definition, I'm telling you now, is lust. This is God's definition of love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I'm going to carry mine. Carry mine. I'm going to carry mine. Take up your cross. Because we all have a cross to bear. 13. We all have a cross to bear. And I think a lot of times what happens is we look at the cross that Jesus bore and we think it stops there. No. Jesus himself said, we just read it in Luke chapter 9, the Son of Man who he referred himself to, he identified himself as one of us. He was fully God and fully man, right? He identified himself. So he said, I will be crucified. I will be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, everybody. They're going to reject me. They're going to kill me. In 3 days, I'm going to get back up. If you want to be like me, to follow me, he said, deny your selfish ways. Take up your cross and follow me. So I think a lot of times we're forgetting that that cross, he showed us how to carry the cross. He set the example for us all to follow. To where he was, I ain't gonna get ahead of myself. All right, let's back up. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Talk about love. Love is sacrificial. You got dedicated? No. You're lying. Come on, man. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, start at verse 4. All right, let's think about these words. Love is, first definition of love is patient. All right, is patience sacrificial? How? In what way? What sacrifice that may be patient with someone? That's the question. Is it or is it not?
No.
Why not? Why is it not? Why do you say no? Come on now. I like getting the outside. Come on now. Come on. How is is patience sacrificial? Do you have to sacrifice to be patient with other people? If you say no, raise your hand. If you say no, you don't have to sacrifice to be patient with people, raise your hand. If you say yes, raise your hand. Patience is sacrificial. What are you sacrificing?
Sacrificing like your natural reaction to
There you go. Deny your selfish ways. Now, within reason, right? So, let's talk about my relationship with my wife, not in the gory detail. Okay? All right. My wife is very rigid, meaning that Tony is very like A plus B equals C. It's going to always be that way. A, B, C. Does that make sense? Did everybody see that? In her mind, if we say we're going to do this, this, and this in this order, Tony's like, it has to be this way, this way, this way. She will fuss and fight with me, her mama, she's done it before, her grandma, and anybody. You will not tell me, you will not change my mind about something. Because it's this, this, and this. That makes sense? Me, A, and B is relative to C. So I think not only does A plus B equal C, I think E minus D equals C. You see what I'm saying? I'm more flexible. It's like, you know, me, if this is the end result, how we get there, really, brother? Really, man? If this is the end result,
I feel like my vote. They're trying to keep it
wow. That happened for real. Okay. So I think not only A, B, U, C, I think D minus E, E minus D, U, C as well. So meaning that I'm more flexible, right? Like for me, I don't necessarily have to take the same way to get to the end result. As long as we get there, how we get there doesn't really matter to me. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
All right, now, so
Variables don't ever make sense.
me being patient with Tony is this. If we're having a conversation, which we have had numerous conversations, and it's like, we plan to do A, B, C, but for whatever reason, our plans changed. Life happened, unexpected bill came up. Let's talk about it. We're gonna pay this bill this way, right? We had this money set aside to pay that bill. In Tony's mind, we're not spending this money for nothing because it goes here. In my mind, okay, this is the end of the month. What's tomorrow? And I can drop, okay, here, go get some other money to make sure we still pay that bill. Does that make sense? All right, me being patient with Tony is not getting frustrated with her just because she insists on not spending that money. Yes, it is hard. Thank you. Welcome to the sacrifice of love.
Bless you.
It's hard. Honestly, it's hard for her too. Because in her mind, I don't stick to a plan. Her mind don't stick to a plan. And so for her, it's like, Reggie, will you just, dang, okay. Y'all on Tony's side there, okay. So in her mind, it's like, look, be this way, stay this way. So in her mind, her being patient with me is like, okay, don't get mad at Reggie. Don't resent Reggie. Because what happens is a lot of times when people don't do things our way, we secretly start to plot in our minds. Or it's some things we need to say in conversation with them, but we will never address it with a public. So as a result, we think a lot of things. Stop being patient. Welcome to the sacrifice of patience. Give up your selfish ways. Because love isn't always my way, is the right way. And even if you are right, I heard this one pastor say, it was totally true, be willing to be wrong for the sake of peace. The problem with a lot of relationships, even parent-child, peer-to-peer, is this. You got two people in the same space looking out for their own interests because I don't trust that the other person will. True relationships in the eyes of Christ is this. I'm looking out for her, and I'm trusting that as I give into her, she gonna take care of me. Sacrificial. It's not about me, it's about you. How can I be patient with you? How can I be kind with you? How can I invest in you becoming the best version of you that you can? That's what God did for us. So because he loved us, we could even keep one rule. Don't eat the fruit off this tree. It wasn't an apple, it was a fruit. Maybe a fig, just saying. It's fruit, don't eat the fruit off that tree. The one became 10. Thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, right? That 10 became 619. Book of Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Book of Law. Man expounded. So God was like, look, they cannot do it in their own strength. So instead of trusting you to come up to me, I'm going to come down to you. And that's what we get Philippians chapter 2. Let's go there. Being patient, sacrificial. How do I know? Because y'all got hormones. Being patient. I want to wait till marriage. Gotta be patient.
Be patient.
So what the enemy does is he will honestly strike and test your patience first. And the second you cave, got you. There's so many broken hearts that way. Philippians chapter 2, starting at verse 5. And even, and I'm not talking about only sex, I'm talking about kissing too. Patient. It's a sacrifice. Love is sacrificial. So if you got somebody that doesn't want to sacrifice with you, they don't truly love you. Because our example is our Heavenly Father, who defined love as agape. Sacrifices for us. So if your relationship with the other person that wants to sacrifice with you, they don't love you, they just lust you. Or they love you like a friend. Love is sacrificial. Philippians chapter 2. So y'all agree with Tom. I don't think you're playing. Whatever. The dude is holding the phone up.
They caution.
Philippians chapter 2. Verse 5. So we talked about take up your cross. That means be willing to sacrifice for the sake of the other. We live in a world of self-preservation. Look out for yourself. Because if I'm looking for myself, no one else will. That's the lie of the devil. That's a lie of the enemy. If you look out for yourself, no one else will. That's how the devil wants you to think. So now, particularly my brothers, we get this mentality, I'm my own island. I can do all on myself. I can do it by myself, blah, blah, blah. And now we push people away instead of drawing them close to us. Does that make sense? That's the enemy. Now, I'm not saying we don't do our part. I'm not saying you don't study. I'm not saying you don't handle finances correctly. I would never say that. But what I will say is there are people God himself has put in your corner. And whether or not we cause the relationship to thrive or let it die is our choice. And too many of us are killing relationships with God has put in our corner. They will sacrifice for you. They will honestly love you. And even if they do make a mistake, it's worth forgiving them. It's worth forgiving them for the sake of their relationship. Philippians 2:5. You must have, talking to us, because when I was talking about this message, I'm like, man, God, this is good just for me. We must have this same attitude that Jesus Christ had. Though he was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Meaning he wasn't just seeking status. God, Jesus, angels, everybody else. He was right there with him. Though he was right there with him, he did not hold on to his seat. I'll lose my seat. No, he didn't see his quality as God as something to hold on to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges, verse 7. Philippians chapter 2, sir. Good morning. Was it a good party? Yeah, I went to sleep really late. Went to sleep really late. So did you actually dance or are you more of a two-step guy?
Or you Watson?
What does this mean? Middle. What's in the middle? You were, yeah, what's in the middle? Okay. All right. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave. A slave is a servant, doing what their master tells them to do. Jesus himself said, it is my meat, it is my nourishment, it energizes me, it excites me to do the will of my Father that sent me. Jesus humbled himself to the point of somebody who's on assignment. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being. When he appeared in human form, verse 8, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on a cross. Good Friday. He died a criminal. He was falsely accused. It was a bunch of lies. That was the most weird case ever. Worse than the OJ case. Therefore, God elevated him to the place of highest honor, gave him a name above all names, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord to the glory of God the Father. It wasn't, Jesus' thing was always pointing back to the Father. Always pointing back to the Father. And the cool thing about God said, he said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. See, the problem is, a lot of us seek fame over making Jesus famous. So because we seek fame, we make it about ourselves. When Jesus always made it about my Father, the one who sent me. So when he says, back to Luke chapter 9, oh man, we get it back to old habits. Daniel sleep again. Hey, you was scaring me a couple weeks ago, man. You stayed awake like a month straight, man. You scared me, man. Luke chapter 9, when he said, give up your selfish ways, take up your cross and follow me, he says, you endure suffering, you endure persecution, and come after me. You point back to the Father. You let your light so shine so people see your good works and glorify the Father God that's in heaven. My concern is this right here. Too many of us are afraid of other people, first of all. Too many of us are imprisoned in our own minds. Too many of us are product of our environment, to the point where instead of glorifying a Father in heaven, walking in the freedom that that cross gives, carrying our cross beside him, too many of us, what we do is we want to sit back and let God do all the work. You know, Jesus he was about doing good, right? And the beautiful part about it, he said, these signs shall follow. Everything Jesus did, we can do even better, even more can we do. But not enough of us are taking up our cross. Lazarus is not taking up his cross. We're not taking up our cross. Why? Because we do not have that same mind of Christ. So when we say, I'm going to carry mine, think about what is it that's stopping you from carrying your cross? What's stopping you from sacrificing the giving of your time, your talent, your treasure, so that others may know Christ? How does that look? Last part, it will go to the sheet of paper. Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. I'm going to carry mine. Jesus, God so loved the world that he gave us his son. Whosoever believes in shall not perish but have eternal life. The problem is, too many people are not experiencing that eternal life. Too many young people are not experiencing that. Too many people are living in hell on earth, and as a result of hell on earth, they're going to die and go to hell. When that is not the will of the Father. The will of the Father is that none should perish. No one perishes. No one perishes. No one perishes. But he's done his part when we do ours. Romans 12, verse 1. And so, dear brothers and sisters, this is Paul writing to the church in Rome. I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. We talked about sacrificing, right, Daniel? Yes, sir. This is the type of sacrifice God is looking for. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him. Do not copy the behavior and custom of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. The Bible says, as a man, we know man is both male and female thinking. So is he, or so is she. So a lot of us are not renewing our mind to the promises of God based on the freedom that Christ purchased on the cross, and because we're not renewing our mind, I like the second part, then you will know. I got seniors coming, I got 11th grade classes pretty strong too. Then you will know. Let God change you by changing the way that you think. You change the way that you think, you transform your thinking, then Lester will know. Then Daniel will know. Then Faith will know. Then she will know. I like people sleep on the front row, it's so much fun. I'm still, really? Let God transform and change the way that we think. Too many of us think like Christ never rose from the dead. Think like Christ never rose from the dead. Because Christ's resurrection has made available to us the mind of the anointed one. But too many people do not have minds anointed by Christ. So because we don't have, or we don't pursue the anointed mindset, a lot of us don't know the will of God for our life. So the question is, will you carry your cross? Will you sacrifice your rights as a Christian? Because you have a choice, your way or Yahweh. Will you sacrifice your rights as a 21st century American? Will you give that up and pursue God's good, pleasing, perfect will for your life according to Jeremiah 29:11? Think the way he tells you to think and meditate on that. Let that dominate your thinking. Or will you choose to think like everybody else and be fixed in your mindset instead of growing in the knowledge of Christ? And I always understand there's people watching you. Just like we give glory, honor, and praise to Jesus for his sacrifice. I thought about this morning. What will people say about you after you die? What do you want people to do? Let's do that on this sheet of paper. I didn't want to do this. Well, let's do that on this sheet of paper. I had two different ideas in my mind. I want to do that. That's a verse? Yes, ma'am. What would people, if you could control the narrative, let's say, if you, I hate to put it this way, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. If you had to write your own obituary, what would people remember you or say about you or know you for? Yes. No. Let's say you live 120 years. Bless God. You're holy. You're saved. If you live all 120 or you one of them people that see Christ come and you're resurrected, what do you want them to say about you? What do you want them to say? What do you want people to say? If you can control what people say, what type of narrative would you want them to have about you? Think about it. Because a will and testament, the covenant, is what we're saying about Jesus after he left the scene, right? That's how we're doing now. What are we saying about Jesus? He was good. He went about doing good. He healed a lot of people. He delivered a lot of people. He set a lot of people free. He fed a lot of people. So we're saying all this good thing after Jesus left the scene. So he's challenging us. You take up your cross. You deny your selfish ways. You follow me. So now, which begs the question in my mind, what will people say about you? What do we want people to know you for? Because one of the problems with youth, according to Ecclesiastes, is just that. Ecclesiastes Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Tell Tom it depends on where. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, starting at verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. Do not let the excitement of your youth cause you to forget your Creator. Go get it. Don't let the excitement of youth cause you to forget your Creator. Honor Him in your youth before you grow old and say life is not pleasant anymore. It's Ecclesiastes. The biggest problem with youth is we make a lot of decisions that are short-sighted. We do things right now a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times that are short-sighted. You got the green Bible on page 542. Don't let the excitement of your youth cause you to forget your Creator. Because He's still saying to young people, especially, because if you look at, honestly, the people that follow Jesus, they were teenagers. Jesus was a youth leader. He was about 30. He had another youth leader that was roughly about 21, because they went to the paid the temple tax, him and Peter did. Everybody else was about you all age. So he's talking to high school aged people. If you want to follow me, Caden, take up your cross. Deny yourself and let's go. And so now we're reading in the annals of history what he did after he left the scene, what his people did after their encounter with Christ. And so I think it's caused a reason. What do you want people to say about you after you leave? Because a lot of times we don't intentionally act on stuff. We go through life, it is what it is. I got time. I got time. I got time. And in the natural sense, you are right. But what I don't like about that statement is this. You're putting off tomorrow what God wants you to do on today. We're putting off tomorrow what God can use us for on today. Some relations you all have right now, you will never get back. The proximity y'all have to people, the time that you all have, the creativity that you all have, you'll never get back. And how will we face God and say we stewarded our time? So I want to change the narrative. In the light of resurrection, he died, he rose. Yes. Yes. What do we do with that? That he gave us grace so we can follow his example. He said himself, if you want to be like me, deny your selfish ways. Don't think about yourself only. Trust God to take care of you as long as you're in his will. Seek first the kingdom of God. Seek his will. And let's get after it. Sacrifice your rights, your way for Yahweh. That is the way that he has blessed. And that is the good life. That's living my best life in the eyesight of Christ. Doing his way. Because Jeremiah 29:11, I have a plan. Your life is on purpose. He has a plan for your life. He's giving you individual gifting, individual talents. He's giving to you. And I like Taylor's suit. I got one a few years ago. Whew. You go in the store, you sit back. Do the arm thing. It's stitched just for you. That's God's plan for your life. It's his plan for you. First he speaks on for now he's speaking. He's out there, how's this place? What will we do? What do you want people to say? Now, that's part A. You know me. It's not that simple. What do you want people to say about you when you depart from this earth? Some of us have heard Martin Luther King's speech, right? Where he said, I've been to the mountaintop. Let them say I was a drum major for Christ. You all read that speech, right? If you have, it's a great speech, read it. If you had to write your own narrative, what would it say? Now, part B, my favorite part. What's stopping you from living today to make that happen? What's holding you back? What's stopping you? You know me. Is it doubt that you know what you can do? Is it fear? A lot of times it's fear. Is it lack of understanding? I just don't know, Reggie. What's stopping you from intentionally living every day with that goal in mind? Because the beautiful part about Luke chapter 9, verse 21 22, Jesus knew why he was here. He told them, the Son of Man, I'm coming here, I have to die. There's a purpose behind my life. There's even more purpose behind my death and the way I will die. And so because he was focused on the end, he had an expected end. He had a way he wanted to go out. He lived every day with the end in mind. He intentionally lived life. Let us renew our mind. Let us stop accidentally hoping and wishing stuff happens. Let us live life on purpose. That's taking up your cross. Sacrificing. Pleasures of today for the gains and profits of tomorrow. Sacrifice. Finances. Savings. Come on now. Sacrifice. The question is, what do you want? How you want this story to end? What do you want people to say? Sure. Let's take it a step higher. What do you want God to say about you? What do you want God to say about you? Tell me what you want people to say. What do you want God to say about you? For me, it's quite simple. Well done. Let this mind be in you that was in Christ. Yes, because of the cross, we're seated in heavenly places. Spiritually, you're sitting with Christ. But like Christ, we're not looking at my positioning as something to be held on to. How can we use the favor of God that's upon our life? Because God has blessed you to be blessing other people. What do you want God to say about you? Because God speaks as well. And if we live our life only to please man, Jesus himself said, you will get your reward here on this earth. Meaning that people are like, oh, she sang so beautifully. He was so smart. She was so cute. She was so brilliant. You will get your applause here on the earth. But what do you want God to say? What do you want God to say? I don't answer that question. It's like Job. Job chapter 1, chapter 2. Satan was walking around and God was talking to him. Satan was like, I'm looking for somebody who I can get off their game. This is the Reggie Standard version of life. And what happened was, God said, have you checked out Job? Job is upright. He's perfect. It means he's mature. And God pretty much said, I endorse Job. And I know he would never leave me and back on me no matter what. What do you want God to say about you? What's stopping you from living today? Because he is a rewarder for that prize. Live with the end in mind. Live today with tomorrow in mind. Take up your cross tomorrow in mind. What do you want God to say about you? And are you willing to sacrifice to make it happen? What do you want God to say? Because he's watching. He's taking tally. Heaven has annuals. Heaven, God is a rewarder. He wants to reward his children. He wants to bless us. But the problem is a lot of us aren't even taking up our cross to pursue the blessings of God. Too many of us seek the pleasure of man. And we're not focused on God blessing and rewarding. And that's, Jesus pleased God by being on the cross. It pleased the Father to bruise him. So Jesus' death pleased God. Because he gave us life. Like Paul said, let us be a living sacrifice to pursue the call of Christ on our life. So what do you want God to say about it? And most importantly, what's stopping you? Because the truth of the matter is, it's all an excuse. He died for it. It's already done. Every obstacle, every burden, every weight, when they rolled the stone away, when the angel came in and pushed that stone out the way, we have open access to the intimate knowledge, the interior things of God. And so you can do it. Your life can please God right now. I don't care. Your life can please God right now. It can. And as your life please God, it will bless other people. And because God's going to bless you. He's going to bless you. But we got to discipline ourselves. Take up our cross and follow him. That's that. That's that. So with that in mind,